All right, y'all. So over the course of this NCAA football season, Colorado University of Colorado, whatever, whichever way you say it, Deion Sanders has been losing recruits. Right after he just called out the NCAA for its practice of allowing players to still go on visits after committing to a program, three of their recruits have decommitted, right? And the world is asking, Dan Patrick in particular, why is Deion Sanders losing recruits? Now, I will say this. To be fair, players decommit from schools all the time, right? But they're decommitting. Deion has lost a nice amount of players. He's had a nice amount of them decommit and open up their recruitment again. Now, it could be several reasons. It could be just due to the fact that some players just want to exercise their options. They want to see what's out there. They want to see what's going on, especially in this landscape of college football where, hey, a lot of these dudes are going to the highest bidder, whoever got the most money, right? Now, Colorado has like $1 billion endowment, so they got some bread to throw around. These boosters will pump money into these programs without question, so money should not be an issue for the University of Colorado in particular. That's just my thought about it, especially, when you got the highest, the dude with the highest NIL, when the NIL deal is coming in, that's something separate. But yeah, man, I don't think money should be just the issue, but really, I think he's really losing these recruits for several reasons. One, Deion Sanders is not as progressive as he would like you to think. Seriously. He lets you wear chains on the sideline. You get to have your chains on. You get to look like Quavo, and all the new rap get to look like Lil Durk and them on the sideline, iced out like a motherfucker. You get to interview. You get to sit and talk to all the rappers, all the entertainers, although they have stopped coming since Colorado was getting beat like a Cherokee drum. They stopped coming, right? But yeah, you get to be around these celebrities, superstars, Lil Wayne and all of that. However, he's against you getting rich within Colorado, right? He spoke out a bit about this is not the place you come to get rich. Ain't no, we're not an ATM. Don't come here to get rich. When you talking like that and your kids out here getting rich, your kids getting iced out, your kids driving Cullinans and all type of crazy stuff like that, your kids is out here on every commercial, your kids out here is the face of NIL deals, your kids is out here plastered everywhere, your kids is selling merchandise during the halftime of football games, your kids is out here raking in a whole bunch of bread, your kids is out here flashing Rolex watches. It looks hypocritical. Okay, when you saying other players can't come here and get rich, and your kids getting rich, that's wild. You saying so your kids, my kids can get rich? Hell no, y'all little ass can't. Hell no. His kids and his adopted son Travis Hunter, they can get that bread, but your ass better second guess all that money. You better second guess it, because we ain't no ATM. We only ATM with Travis, Shallow, and Shadua. That's it. Nah, bro, that doesn't register well with kids. Because now at this point, you talking like Dabo Swinney, a guy who's just firmly against college players getting paid, which is what a lot of these young kids do not want to hear, dog. You don't want them to get paid. You're going to be against them getting some money. They like, yo, you're not going to allow us to flourish over here financially, because let's be for real, what 3% of these players are going to go on to the NFL, for 4% maybe, to go on and do some major things. A lot of these dudes not going to the league, so they want to cash in now. And they hear their coach talk like he's against it or whatever. They act like, oh, you don't come here to get rich. When we see your kids getting rich, it's just a slap in the face, and it don't sound right to these kids. You know what I mean? Especially when they know money is getting thrown around handsomely. Second of all, like I said, he's not progressive as we would like to think, because Coach Sanders, some of y'all may not know this, primetime Deion Sanders suspended 2 of his players for taking a knee during the national anthem, for doing the Colin Kaepernick, taking a knee during the national anthem, because, hey, we feel like, they're not, Colin Kaepernick was feeling like America was not living up to their end of the bargain to treat Black American citizens correctly and to care about Black American citizens during the time police brutality was present and still is present in his country. He was kneeling. Deion Sanders has always been against Colin Kaepernick. A lot of you may not know that. He was firmly against Colin Kaepernick. Every time Stephen A. Smith spoke out against Colin Kaepernick in a certain way, I would always see Deion Sanders and Stephen A. Smith's comment section amening, right? He did not like Colin Kaepernick kneeling during that anthem. Because Deion Sanders, deep down inside, is a real, he got some good old boy in him. He does. He's plays to, oh, you don't do that, you don't disrespect that flag. He got that shit up in him. He does, and he don't like that. He don't like, oh, you don't kneel don't kneel for the national anthem. We Americans. He got some of that shit up in him, and so you see he's not as progressive as you would like to think. Yeah, you can have chains on the sideline and look like Mr. T while you on the field, but you better not be kneeling during that national anthem on his watch. Okay, he got that Jerry Jones shit up in him. He didn't got that from Jerry. Jerry did came that over there and brought that on to him. And so, yeah, when you see players get suspended for stuff like that, you like, hold on, man. I don't know if this dude is really down like we think he is. He lets you be a rapper, but you're against certain players protesting, silently protesting the national anthem when people are not given Black Americans are being treated unfairly in this country. We want to be able to silently protest that, and you like, oh no, they gonna look at it now. They gonna look at not just that act. I don't think it's maybe just that act in particular, but the whole sum of all these things is like, yo, he gonna stifle us in certain ways, and especially the money part. They gonna like, yo, we not, maybe we need to go somewhere else. You know what I mean? And I think ultimately they also question if Deion's family, if his children, if the program is all about Deion's family, if it's all about his children, or if it's a long-term plan to get everybody to the NFL and make the Colorado Buffaloes football team a winning program. People have questions about that because they abandoned the run all season. And you can go from Dylan Edwards is really too small to be an every down back. Okay, like you're not gonna be a power back. You can't make him that. That's a feature back all the time. You got other backs on the team for that. But he completely abandoned the running game in order to throw the ball all season long. And which throwing the ball, not running the ball, open yourself up to get blitzed all the goddamn time. And he should know that. Right? But he want to keep running the ball. Keep throwing the ball and putting your son in harm's way. Yes, your son has a chance to increase his stats to throw for 400 yards every game and keep him in the leading leaders of throwing of yards thrown in the season. But it doesn't do well for the team. You got to switch it up. You gotta have continuity. You got to have not continuity. You got to have what's the word I'm looking for? Variety in the offense. If we know he throwing every single time, y'all not gonna run the ball, too predictable. But people felt like he was doing that in order to make Shedeur look good, in order to make Travis get his receiving yards, not playing other guys at certain times. And it's like, yo, is it all about your children? Is it all about your kids? Even after the game where they had a tough game, just shouting out simply your kids after the game, people can look at that funny style. Like, is this the Shedeur and Shiloh and Travis show, or is this about the Colorado Buffaloes? I think kids have questions about that. Even one of the players, Cavassier, I forgot his last name, came out and talked about a lot of selfish stuff going on. A lot of people are out for self. And that's what I said. I think it was a disconnect between Shedeur Sanders and his offensive line. Because when a quarterback keeps getting sacked like that over and over and over again, and the players aren't helping him up off the ground, when they looking at his ass on the floor and not doing nothing to help him up and really don't have any interest in picking him up, that is something else. That's a disconnect with the offensive line and a quarterback, and I think that has been aided by Coach Sanders really just feeding everything into his son. And they can see that as favoritism being shown. Other players at any time can be thrown under the bus. The offensive line can be thrown under the bus. But Shedeur is not criticized a lot for not getting the ball out. At times holding on to the ball too long, taking sacks unnecessarily when he doesn't have to, putting them back 20, 15 yards. Like the first and 10 turns into a 2nd and 17 because he wanted just let himself take the sack. No, and, he's not criticizing the same way. Again, also I think players are looking at the fact that when things go wrong, we might get thrown under the bus publicly. They might not trust going to a school where the coach will throw you under the bus publicly and then tell the world you're gone next season. Basically what he did to the offensive line. Whether we knew the offensive line was not that good or not, whether we knew that. And I don't think they were. I think some of that shit was just effort. And I think they were just done with that shit, right? But they weren't that good, right? They weren't. And for you to tell the world, basically, you get new linemen and all of that, tell them that publicly, what incentive is it for them to come to practice and want to just come out and give their all and protect your son when you basically telling them they gone next year? And I know some of y'all lads going to be, they kids need to toughen up. Man, listen, That if he wouldn't have done that shit to Shiloh and Shador, hell no, he wouldn't have done that to them. And y'all keep talking about Shiloh leading the league and leading the team in tackles. First of all, a safety leading the team in tackles is fucking bad. That's an indication of the defense being terrible, right? And Shiloh at times was giving up big ass plays and then getting a tackle after that. And that, so you giving up a whole bunch of yardage and then getting a tackle after that don't equate to you just being an absolute monster on the field. You know what I mean? So that, no, we're not gonna do that. But anyway, like, yeah, would a kid want to go to a program where the head coach is going to throw him under the bus when stuff don't go right? You know, how can we be inspired to play for a coach who going to publicly tell the world our job is gone? Whether he can feel like that all he wants to, is certain shit you don't say. Certain things you don't say to the public. All this unconventional is he had his own way. All that own way shit, you see that own way shit didn't work this year. Okay? And all y'all can keep on talking about, oh, he turned the whole team around. Last year they went 1-11. That was an anomaly. Normally they won more games. In the past few years, they won more games than they won this year without Coach Sanders. With Deion, they won 4 games. Previous seasons before he got there, they won 5 games. 5, right? And they all won games against, this year, they won games against losing teams. All the teams was losing type teams. Now, TCU first game, people didn't think TCU was going to be that bad, but they turned out to not be good, okay? So, you got to take all of that into account. And I know the Pac-12 was rough and tough this season because they were. They were, right? But he told us he was bringing in Louis. I got luggage in it, Louis. That shit turned out to be JanSport, okay? The luggage he brought in was some other shit. That wasn't Louis Vuitton. That was the shit on Madison on the west side. You can find west side of Chicago. That knockoff shit. That knockoff shit you can find on Madison Street on the west side, or that knockoff shit you can find at the Swap-O-Rama flea market in Alsip, Illinois, right outside of Chicago. That's what the shit he had. You feel me? That wasn't no Louis luggage, okay? That was some goddamn, I don't know. It wasn't Louis though. I know that for a fact. So when he talking, you want to talk about how tough the Pac-12 was tough this year. Well, sir, if you brought in Louis luggage that was coming, I don't know. That was the wrong shit. Maybe you need Gucci. Maybe you need, I don't know, some other shit. Maybe you need something else. Maybe you need some FUBU luggage, okay? So for us, by us. That's our shit. You know, it was our black folk stuff for a minute. Not for a minute. That was our stuff. Bring in some FUBU. Bring in some Carl Kanai. Because that, maybe that designer shit you was sawing, that high designer they wasn't dogs like you wanted them to be. That shit was a little, it was a little tainted, a little suspect, a little, yeah. Because they wasn't getting the job done. That's why I was mad when he called out the offensive line, not knowing the defense ended up playing a lot better as the season went on. They ended up playing a lot better. I got to give them kudos for that. But at times they was looking terrible. Terrible. Matter of fact, when they just played, what's the name? Who they just played? Let me just look at this up. I'm sorry. Colorado Buffaloes football. They just played Washington State. Gave up 56 points. Defense giving up all these damn points, all this yardage. And they was even picking on Travis Hunter on the field. He getting ate on. Like, yeah. And so all of that, yeah, Deion gonna get criticized. I'm sorry. Y'all how y'all giving him a hard time? When you on 60 Minutes and they ask you who the best coach in football and you say, do I need a mirror? And I know some people are gonna say, what do you expect him to say? Cool, but he was in there. Do you need a mirror? Like, he the best coach and he got all this. And when we see you having real problems making in-game adjustments. Seriously, he having problems making in-game adjustments, including clock management at times. That looks suspect. It looked like you like John Calipari. You can win when you got overly superior talent, like John Calipari had when he had Anthony Davis and Michael Kidd, Gilchrist, and all of them. He had the superior talent that year and he won. When the talent is close in range, when they all close together, when the talent margin is not wide and other players have talent or they have a little bit more talent than him, he can't seem to get the job done because the X's and O's is something that he's struggling with. That's what John Calipari struggles with, and it looks like that's what Coach Prime struggling with, especially when you don't call a timeout when your team is up 29-0 at halftime against Stanford and you lose the game and you lose the lead. No timeouts is crazy.